Hi, my friends. Welcome to my channel. I'm Allie Wilkins. I'm an author, a mentor, a priestess, a retreat facilitator. I do a lot of different things, but essentially I really work with people to help them release their programming and conditioning and really come into the soul, to help you design your life from your soul and create a life that just you feel really fulfilled and excited by. And shadow work is one of those things that is necessary for this. And I get questions all the time about what shadow work is and how do I do it. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. So shadow work is basically being willing to love all parts of yourself. And we've really been taught, without going too much into this, we've been programmed for like 5,000 years to avoid certain parts of ourselves, to pretend that they're not there, to repress them, because these parts of self have been so demonized, and called wrong and called a sin and called so many different things that for thousands of years we're like, I'm bad for having these primal urges. I'm bad for desiring money. I'm bad for desiring sex. I'm bad for all of these different ways of being that were programmed in us that are not right, that are wrong, that we shouldn't show. You know, like our craziness, our anger, our rage, all of these different parts of self. And so what happens when you repress something, sometimes it can, and a lot of times it's going to come out in really just like explosive ways or really ugly ways, and they're hidden, right? So you think about caging a tiger or caging a lion. If it's kept in a cage, first of all, it's going to become submissive in many cases, but when it's let out, it might go wild, right? So some different things that can happen is, one, these primal urges will become so loud that they become really toxic within us and we're expressing them in dangerous ways. Or you just completely repress them and they're submissive, they're lying dormant, and these primal parts of self give us a huge amount of energy. So it can make us, like, I don't want to use the word dull, but not operating from our full life force. So anywho, shadow work is really about looking at the parts of self that you might be embarrassed about, you might be ashamed about, you don't want other people to see. The parts of self, like the patterns that continuously show up that you're like, nothing here to see, I don't see any problem here. It's the things that you don't openly want to talk to people about, and learning how to love those parts of yourself, learning how to love them, mother them, and bring them back to healing. Because some of these things actually aren't a problem at all, and we just have been programmed that we think that they are. And some of them are a little bit in distortion because of that programming, not because you're bad or you're wrong or you're anything, but it might have been the way that you were raised or the environment you were raised in, or I don't know, thousands of years of programming training you that operating from that was a sin and you were going to go to hell if you were that way, right? So there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you when you identify these things. And that's what's so important with shadow work, is that you look at whatever comes up with love. So for example, okay, I am experiencing deep jealousy. I'm embarrassed to tell my partner about it. I'm embarrassed I wish that I didn't feel this jealousy. I'm so insecure because I'm feeling this. And it's looking at, okay, hi jealousy. What are you showing me here? What is it in you that needs to be loved right now? What are you trying to tell me? Okay, well, I feel really jealous and insecure when my partner looks at other women this way, or when my partner does this. Okay, why does that make you feel jealous? Well, it makes me feel jealous because it makes me feel like he's more interested in them than he's interested in me. Why is that bad? Is that true? Like, really asking a lot of questions instead of like, shh, be quiet. You aren't supposed to be jealous. That's not an attractive quality. And then sometimes that will erupt, a year later, and it's like, you always look at girls, and you all like, you see, that's a really good and common example. Jealousy is also something just that everyone experiences, like many pieces of our shadow. It's something that many, many, many people experience, but not very many people talk about because we are taught, or our society conditions us. Like, these aren't things that we need to be told. We get context cues and clues, whatever the word would be, that something's not appropriate or that something's not accepted. And so we're like, oh, I'm like this and that because I feel this way. No. How can you look at that thing with love and get curious about why it's showing up for you? So for example, with jealousy, it might be showing up for you because there's actually a deep insecurity in yourself that is asking for healing. Or it might be like, this person is breaking all of your boundaries and it's really not comfortable for you. And this is your gut's way of saying that something's not right here. So these different pieces of our shadows can show us many different things. And it's about how do you approach it with love? And this is a perfect example of, you know, if a mother catches her child like doing something bad in quotes, or like a kid is about to put their hand on a hot burner, it's like, no, you don't do that, and here's why you don't do it. But you're not like, you're horrible for putting your hand on the burner. Like, how could you be, you know, like that's how we talk to ourselves sometimes with our shadows. Why are you the way that you are? It's like, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to put my hand on the burner, right? A mother would approach that conversation with love and with grace, or like, hey, you actually can't say to that woman, are you pregnant? Because she's not, and it makes her feel bad. And you tell them lovingly, and you talk to them in a loving way. That's how you get to talk to yourself when you're looking at your shadow. Then there's also a part of this where it's like, requires deep vulnerability, deep honesty with yourself. So, I mean, God, there's so many forms of shadows that can come up because it's anything that we don't want other people to know about, right? So you also have to be really honest with yourself of like, okay, what are my toxic traits? Because everybody has them. What are the ways that I am operating from like manipulation? What are the ways that I am operating from trying to control somebody? What are the ways that I'm trying to get away with something? What are the ways that I'm doing something so that I get something? And when you identify what some of your shadows are that you work with that come up for you the most, the issues that you have that create patterns in your life, then you have to look at, okay, so for example, a shadow for me, if any of you know me, you know that I can be real fiery. And this is something that I've worked on for years, toning my voice down, because I used to just, you might be like, really? I'm very blunt. I say things as they are, but I used to have no discernment in what I would say. And so I would say a lot of mean and hurtful things. Classic fire sign. But also that's even, anyways. So something that I had to look at is, okay, I need to have more discernment in what I say. And this is a part of my shadowy side that can actually create damage. So how can I create accountability for myself? How can I be honest with myself when I go too far, or stop myself before it gets to that place, right? Or, so it's like, number one, show up to your shadows with love. You're not wrong. You're not bad for having these things that you're embarrassed about, or things that you don't think are lovely and beautiful. Come to them with love. Get curious about them. Ask about them. Like, what do they have to teach you? And then number two, notice how they are creating perhaps manipulative ways of operating, or just like toxic ways of operating, or even just like slightly, what's the word I'm looking for? Distorted ways of operating, like it's not coming from love. How is it impacting your life? How is it impacting your thoughts, your behaviors, your decisions, all those sorts of things? And then being honest with yourself when you catch yourself doing it. Or this requires, like, it's not something you're like, I did my shadow work PDF and now I'm done. This is something that's going to come up over and over and over and over again. And then you're peeling one layer of the onion off each time. You're able to go a little bit deeper each time. This is necessary for every single human on the planet. We all have things that we're embarrassed about. We all have things that we wish we could change about ourselves. And the way that we've been taught to deal with this is, shh, don't tell anybody. This isn't something you deal with, right? Like, or you're so messed up. Why is this the way that you are? You should be ashamed. Don't tell anybody. And so that is not healthy. First of all, just for your health, your body, like that energy can't be alive in your body. That's not going to be good for you. but also you have such an opportunity to transform that into something that actually can really help you. And then we can utilize our shadows to work for us, to help support us, instead of being something that we're like, this is the enemy. It can become, I'm thinking about like, I don't know how to explain this. It can just become something that will be helpful for you. Like you can have that on your team of skills and you just know how to use it, right? Gosh, I really want to explain this example that's coming in, but it's not coming out in words. Like this teammate of yours can be lethal when it's like not controlled, or when it's operating from fear, but when it's operating from love, it can actually like help you win the game. So yeah, working with your shadow is something that having a mentor really, really supports you with. You can also, you'll need to do this by yourself, like in everyday moments, constantly. But learning how to work with this, mentors can tend to be able to spot some of your stuff that we're just like blind to our own stuff sometimes. So hiring someone to help you or being in a group space with others will highlight some of these shadows. And that's also a really great way that you can have guidance working through stuff. So I do one-on-one mentorship, I do group coaching and group programs, but there's so many people who can also help you with that. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I get this question all the time of what is shadow work and how do I do it? So I hope that this video helps. Please put in the comments if it did. And if you have any other questions, please put that in the comments as well. And I have a couple other videos on my on my YouTube channel as well that talk about different aspects of shadow work. So if you liked this, you can I'll tag some of them here. But anyways, I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Please like and comment on this video if it supported you. I'd love if you subscribe to the channel if you find me helpful or you'd like more of these videos in your feed. So anyways, see you guys later. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Bye.